before we start with the music, just introduce yourself.
What's up? My name's Ernest.
I want to get a deeper understanding of country music songwriting.
Okay.
So the first song I'm going to play is not a country song.
Okay.
But you can tell me who the artist is and what this song means to you.
Everything.
May I have your attention, please? And Dr. Dre said, "Nothing, you idiots. Dr. Dre's dead. He's locked in my basement. Feminist women love EMINEM. Chicka, Slim Shady. I'm sick of him."
All right. I want to start with that song.
That's better than coffee.
You're a fan.
I love it. Yeah, that was like third grade me. I had no business knowing all those words as a third grader, especially at a private Christian school. But my dad coached baseball, so I had access to all the high schoolers' burnt CDs. That burnt CD specifically had some stuff on it. I remember my mom, it was after one of my dad's baseball games. We were leaving. I think I was like in fourth grade. We were going to go eat at a cheeseburger place, Cheeseburger Charlie's, actually. And I was listening to my little Walkman or whatever, and I forget what song it was. I feel like Ass Like That came out later, but it was some shit that my mom did not want me listening to that she heard coming through, and she was like, "What is that?" Took it out of the CD player, snapped it in half, threw it out the window. I was like, "You're going to tell your dad what you're listening to?" And I'm like, ugh. And I just remember thinking, like, I want to do this when I grow up, dude, evoke that kind of emotion out of somebody. And yeah, the wordplay and flow is just like, I've been addicted to that for a long time.
I grew up like pretty close to this neighborhood, and if you wanted to go to like Virgin Megastore or whatever, you had to be 18 to buy a CD with the sticker, and my parents wouldn't let me do that. Oh, but you could go to St. Mark's and you could get like the burnt ones.
Yes, that's all you needed.
And it was the same thing.
Yeah, that's all you needed. I wouldn't have found Eminem though, or like the Space Jam soundtrack is what sent me down the hip hop and R&B thing, because my household was listening to like country, oldies, Chuck Wagon Gang, like gospel acapella stuff. Mm-hmm. And sports radio. And then unbeknownst to what it would do for my life, my uncle gave me the Space Jams, because Space Jam was like my most watched movie.
Yeah.
So they gave me the Space Jam soundtrack that Christmas.
I mean, I Believe I Can Fly is the one that stands out. That's like the most.
That's great, but Hit 'em High, Hit 'em Low was the one that sent me down the rap. Yeah, like that's what got me to there.
360-degree tight dunks. What up, Dr. Monster Funk?
You know, lightning strikes and chorus lights get deal. Supreme competition is about to begin. Above the rim, finessing and moves. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then I heard Eminem where like he's really saying some crazy shit. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, there we go.
So, all right. So, did you have any idea that you wanted to be a musician? You wanted to be a professional baseball player? Like, where were you at as a kid?
As a kid, I mean, I was like always playing instruments. My parents weren't musical. My cousin was, so like I would play his guitars from a young age. He taught me chords on guitar. My grandmother's house had a piano, so like after church on Sundays, I would go back and like play by ear some church songs from that day. And parents got me a drum set. You know, like I was always supplied with music and sought it out as much as I did baseball, because I grew up on a baseball field. But I was bringing my banjo to baseball games and shit.
So when did you start writing?
Probably like fourth or fifth grade. Like I'm just trying to think what I would consider writing. I was like writing poems in fourth and fifth grade, and then I'd go back and know 2 or 3 chords on a guitar and
combine them
and make and sing. I could always come up with melody for as long as I can remember. So when I'd write a poem, I'd have the melody in my head, but I couldn't really like lock it in until I grabbed a guitar and figured it out. But they were like, let's hold hands and walk around songs to show the fifth grade girl, you know. Which brings you to...
It started way back in third grade.
Exactly.
I used to sit beside him in New Haze.
That was literally you.
That was me. That was literally me. So that's when I heard this song, I was like, yeah, I've been that guy.
Okay,
King
that's
George.
the king.
That's the king.
Tell me about him.
He was the soundtrack of riding around in my dad's truck the most. Like we had that 50 #1 double CD, and I actually found one of those CDs last time I was at my parents'. I don't know where the part 2 is, but I listened to that all the time. And then obviously he was on the radio everywhere, but the George Strait, 50 of them at 3rd, 4th, 5th grade sculpted a lot of just like, you know, we have comfort foods. That's comfort music for me. I can just turn off and listen to George Strait all day. I'm with that with a lot of country music, but George was like the first one and the most listened to. If him and Alan Jackson, between what my mom listened to too.
You grew up in Nashville?
Born and raised.
So when did you become aware of like the industry?
I would say I became aware of the industry.
Is it like being a kid who grows up in Hollywood, in LA? Like you know about movies like we don't?
I guess, but I mean, it was more of a sports household, but I was aware of like, you know, people that were around, like Vince Gill and Amy would do like Lighting of the Green, which my Lighting of the Green is very different than theirs. They were lighting a Christmas tree at Lipscomb at the campus, and like I always knew who they were. I knew Vince Gill. Billy Dean, when I was in the third and fourth grade were very impactful for me musically because I was best friends with his son, Eli Dean, like all through elementary school. And Billy was a big country singer in the 90s that I always heard on the radio. And then he would like pick me and Eli up and take us to a restaurant. We'd go in the back door and, you know, as a fourth grader, like, this is sick. And he would let us listen to Slim Shady on the way there. And like this guy's the coolest. I want to do this when I grow up. There was like several instances throughout my childhood of being aware by proxy of family friends or cousins who my cousin he went to Belmont. He was an engineer. So I knew I got to go visit studios when I was young. One of my players' dads was a Grand Ole Opry steel guitar player as well as like big session player in the 80s and 90s. He took me to the Grand Ole Opry for the first time when I was like 10. In between set changes, I got to stand in the circle and look out and be like, I want to do this when I grow up. Several moments I can go back now and pinpoint that were like super pivotal for me now.
When did you like start to understand the songwriting business that, you know, Nashville's so famous for? Like I think about someone like George, a lot of his songs were written by other people. And then there's all these famous, you know, writers behind the scenes. And then there's the stars.
Yeah.
But then there's other artists who we'll get into where they do both.
Yeah. Another lucky friendship for me, when you relate it to where I am now, the Tenpennies, Mitchell Tenpenny and his younger brother, Rafe. Rafe and me were in the same class since 5th grade. And Mitchell and Rafe are like brothers. So I spent many a nights on the couch at the Tenpenny household or the Hilly, which is Mitchell's grandmother. Mitchell and Rafe's grandmother was Donna Hilly. Mm-hmm. She was deigned the Queen of Music Row through the late 80s, all through the 90s, signed all those big acts that we know from 90s country, Sony ATV. And so I didn't know, the first Sony ATV hoodie I had in the 7th grade, I thought it was like an off-road, like a four-wheeler. Yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't know Sony made four-wheelers. I was like, that's sick. It must be high tech. Yeah. But then I get older because she always let Mitchell have a studio in the basement of their house, and that's like where we were cutting our teeth, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, 8th, all through high school. We'd get in after school, go down to the basement. Pro Tools would be up with whatever Mitchell and his friend group made, 4 years older than us. You know, we'd save, delete, and leave up whatever we made. So we were always like bouncing stuff back and forth. And I was aware of the song, to answer your question, I was aware of songwriting through the Hillies, through Sony ATV, and then you got more educated on it when I decided to drop out of college and pursue it for real. And the Warren brothers were really instrumental in educating me and getting me into the rooms to start with.
Were you listening to older country music too? Like you were, it sounds like the main thing was that like 80s and 90s stuff was like always on. But when did you start to go back?
I would say like I really started to go back maybe 2016, 17, like 60s, 50s, all that, because I was always aware of like Ray Price and that era because of my grandmother. And now I have a much better appreciation for it because so beautiful. Like early Willie Nelson stuff, funny how time slips away. Like it makes sense why his songs are simple like they are, because he says he writes most of his songs while he's driving, like Crazy and I think Ain't It Funny How Time Slips Away, he wrote on the same 4-day drive from Austin to Nashville without a guitar. So I was like, oh, I get that, because they are poems. If you read it, it reads like a poem. And I think that that's what makes that era so good, because it just was simple. True.
Could be holding you tonight. I could quit doing wrong and start doing right.
The Hag.
You don't care about what I think. Think I'll just stay here and pray.
Hag didn't give a fuck.
Okay, goat right there.
Yeah. So Hag to me, I mean, he's probably in my top listen to right now for sure. Hag, Jones, Whitley, David Allan Coe. That's my comfort food as of late. So let me just give you a little lineage, because to go from Strait to Haggard, early on, George Strait wanted to sound like Merle Haggard. Early on, Merle Haggard wanted to sound like Lefty Frizzell. And like the DNA and all of it, when you listen to early versions of all of them, everybody was trying to do, like, if you go back and listen to Lefty Frizzell, anybody watching this, you hear, it's like, oh, that's like Haggard. That's how Haggard tried singing. So early on, Haggard was opening for Lefty Frizzell, and Lefty heard Haggard's set. And this had to be nerve-wracking, because Lefty went up and was like, no, you go out for my set and sing a couple of my songs too. You're doing the bit anyways. Basically put him on the spot. And I was like, damn. But yeah, early George Strait, he's trying, who didn't want to be Merle Haggard? Yeah.
I was born in Saginaw,
Tone.
Michigan. I grew up in a house in Saginaw Bay.
Yeah, the way he like,
My dad was a poor
but you can see Haggard.
Saginaw.
So I had to just throw that on for
Yeah.
a second to give us a taste.
Yeah. I just think it's cool. Like, every genre has that, but to me, it's important to like know where stuff started.
Yeah.
And go all the way back. You can take that back or as far as deep as you want.
Merle was in prison at San Quentin,
Yes, he was.
and Johnny Cash came and played
Yeah.
at the prison when he was there.
Yeah, it's insane.
And he was like, I got to get my act together. When I get out of here, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
It's like one of those stories
That's-
that you
it's
hear
a
and you're
movie.
like, how is that?
It's a movie.
That's real?
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know. I feel like unless somebody comes out of any of the jails me and Jelly Roll visited on our tour, I don't think that kind of story will ever happen again. But it
possible.
could. No, I mean, dude, remember Jelly Roll had like 4 or 5 guys released for the night to come to our concert, and like dude sang on stage and writing. That was incredible. Yeah, those moments are insane. That's what makes legends though, like having those stories.
Yeah. So, okay, so we covered Merle. We talked a little bit further back. You know, we talked about George Jones a little bit. I was thinking about maybe playing that, but we covered George Jones.
Over George Jones.
There was someone else you mentioned, and I love this song.
It's amazing how you can speak right to my heart.
What a voice.
There's 2 writers on there, Paul Overstreet and Don Schlitz,
Yeah.
who show up like on hundreds and hundreds.
Paul
of
Overstreet is
iconic
he's newest inductee into the Country Songwriters Hall of Fame.
songs. Well deserved.
Yeah. That's just such a fun era to write in, I feel like, or would have been, you know? And I think it's actually coming back a little bit to that, because those types of songs are getting cut again with guys like Zach and Jake
Yeah.
Worthington and all that. But that's a fun playground to create in, which is like pretty songs. It doesn't have to be like, they weren't writing songs for the pop viral moment on like stage moments, you know? They were writing songs for people to listen to on or that or 8-track and like drive and go get a slushy in a 1500 and drive around a fucking small town, you know? Like they're creating from such a different place in their minds, and I think that's why those songs, that's why we keep coming back to them.
You talk about like writing for that era. How does that impact you like now? Are you aware of certain things that are like trends that are happening or sounds? Are you listening to like all types of music and how that's reflected in stuff you guys are writing? How does that work?
I think there's just so many more elements to artistry now than there was then, when it was like, here's the song, here's the record, radio plays it, I'll go play a show. Like if you look at the concerts from Hank Jr. 1979 playing at like a big outdoor festival, people are sitting at folding tables and like not standing or going crazy, you know what I mean? And he's boogieing and like people were just taking it in. It wasn't all the phone. It wasn't all for like, for a video. Like there was video footage of it, but it was like in the moment. It was so in the moment. So I'm aware now that like when I'm writing, say I'm writing stuff with or for Morgan or big acts that are having those moments on stage. Like we write from a different perspective because it's like there's energy. It has to bring energy. And there's obviously great songs, 80s and 90s that have energy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying back then I feel like that was secondary. And sometimes now it's like people are getting drum beats first. This changed a lot. It's the first of it's the prototype for the era.
We can take a different route. I know you're from a different town, but you're here for now. So what you say we get on?
You can hear the rap influence in the flows, yeah.
Know me. I have you hopping up in my passenger seat. Then I take you home and you ain't gonna wanna leave. Make a little love at 3:15. Gotta keep it down 'cause your roommate's home.
Damn, nostalgia just kicked in.
That thing.
Yeah.
Tell me about like that sound.
Charlie Handsome, who is a super badass. He was on early like Posty stuff. Post Malone as a producer, and that like Go Flex sound is Charlie Handsome's brainchild. Acoustic, super drawn out, ghost melodic stuff happening, being used as instruments, and badass drums. He came from Atlanta, moved out to LA, slept on Rex Kudo's couch, and just grinded and got all the way to early 2017. I'm out in LA at Warner Chappell Studios, or it was Universal Studios. Either one of the two. I should know. Nonetheless, it was my first time meeting Charlie Handsome, and I was out there writing like rap hooks and stuff with different producers and just freestyling. So that's what I was going to do that day, and he had like a bunch of Post Malone type beats set up, and I got on a microphone and freestyled a bunch of stuff. And then he was like, he's like, yo, we could do this more often. I was like, yeah, we should definitely do this more. I was like, come to Nashville. 'Cause at that time I was like already in with FGL, Sam Hunt, Chris Lane, Morgan, like that. There's that whole community already there.
It was bubbling up.
It was bubbling, but it was missing one thing. When Charlie and I went to Nashville, or when he came to Nashville, I think he wrote with T-Hub and somebody on a Monday. Tuesday, me, him, and Morgan got up, and that was the first song. Hardy came, we finished it, and then like maybe Thursday we wrote More Than My Hometown.
I love you more than a California sunset, more than a beer when you ain't 21 yet, more than a Sunday morning Lord turning sun.
Between now and then, I think we've had like 35 to 40 songs together with Morgan, me, Charlie, and Morgan being it's kind of wild.
What is that bass like at the beginning?
It's just an electric guitar. It's just one string on an electric guitar.
And it's just like, where does that come from? just fucking around?
Just vibe. And that's another thing. Like we write so many different ways. Like he has such a large bank of guitar loops. He's a fantastic guitar player. Like he's very musical. And his well of music is very deep, all genres. As for Morgan, Hardy, and I, we all share that. Like we can go any direction deep and find deep cuts in any genre and have fun listening to music. So, combining those two worlds, bringing my flow and like kind of freestyle, just not overthinking shit approach to Morgan's voice, also his melodic instincts. Like he's a very musical guy and a great songwriter too. And then you got Charlie's tracks, and then for the real click is when Hardy comes in, because he's so methodical. Like me and him are polar opposite writers, and sometimes it doesn't work, but when it does, it's because he can see the whole picture, and then I can blah blah blah. I'm also totally, like More Than My Hometown, I bet I wrote a word. Like Hardy was savage assassination on a song like that, and that combination in any form or fashion, typically Charlie and Morgan would be the common denominator. And then you can add in different storytellers to that.
When you guys first started making those songs, did you realize, were you like, this is going to be the biggest thing in the world? Like we were going to go to the top of the...
And we still approach it the same way.
Yeah.
I know that sounds...
You're like, this is just a fire song.
Yeah, that's literally how we still do it. And we consciously talk about it. It's like, dude, we don't have to try to one up anything. we know when it's fire, or dirt, as Morgan would say. That's just dirt. Dirt. Yeah, like it feels. Heartless was the first one where we were like, that was me, Charlie, and Ryan Hurd. Ryan Hurd brought that title in. Charlie pulled that track up, and that song was written in like 20 minutes. That second verse of Heartless was me one take freestyle.
But Monday night was definitely not a night. Tuesday night was just another fight. Wednesday I thought everything would change. Thursday came and it was still the same.
And it's like those moments. I remember hearing that and being like, oh, this is going to be sick. Because at the time, Diplo was doing his first Thomas Wesley thing. And I sent it to Morgan and Seth. I was like, this could be sick for the Diplo thing. And sure enough, it was Heartless.
Why you gotta be so heartless? I know you think it's all this. You're tearing me apart, and girl, the hardest part is just
you can find the connectors for so many songs that started with like just 3 or 4. Each one of those, like there's a More Than My Hometown, a Heartless, and If I Know Me, and like a Somebody's Problem, and then there's derivatives off of each guy. They got you Wally World.
Damn. There's a few different choices here. Where to go next?
Choose wisely.
you make it easy. Loving up on you, make it easy with every little thing you do.
That's kind of just straightforward songwriting, right?
Plain and simple. Plug it. You could plug and go a bunch of different artists on that, but written by T. Hub and Morgan, like I said. Either of those guys could have had a hit with that song. Anybody that sang it, it's such a great song, so easy to sing and remember. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think that was Morgan's first #1 as a songwriter.
I think
Is
so.
that right, Addy? Was that also maybe T Hub's first outside cut that wasn't an FGL thing?
Wow.
Maybe he had another one. I don't want to speak on that, but I am pretty sure that was Morgan's first. And yeah, that was one of those when you hear Aldean's voice on, I know that feeling as a songwriter when it goes from demo to you hear the artist's voice on it for the first time. It's like, well, damn, there's one. You know, you can never predict what a song's life will look like.
Yeah.
But you can't argue the feeling you feel when you hear it. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I heard the story of Sia. Sia got her start because she wrote a song for Rihanna or something, and it was going to happen, and then Rihanna was like, and then Sia explodes because the song is that good.
Yeah.
But if Rihanna did it, would also been massive. There's that, like, there's the Bieber song that
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, there's
You
just
should
like
go love yourself. Songs are funny because I do think the steward matters. You know, it's not always going to be true that that a hit song will be a hit song just because anybody sang it. But that's what the magic is when those things line up.
So how do you sometimes you have to make a tough choice? Like, is this one for me? How do you think about
gut
a song?
It's
for
just
you
what
versus,
I feel you know, because of the Morgan brand, and I know it lives in there. I think I've probably misstepped a couple times and actually kept songs I shouldn't have versus the other way around. You know, because I'm able to separate now. I know my boundaries as an artist. I have no boundaries as a songwriter, and I just have to, like, it took me almost too long to know that. But yeah, I know that, like, just like a picture, like a baseball field. I know what's in bounds for me.
Yeah.
And anything outside of that, there's a wide open world, including the parking lot and structures around the stadium to get those songs cut.
So how often when you're writing do you have someone's voice in mind versus you're just kind of figuring out the melody?
Typically now, like if I'm writing for another artist, it's with another
You're with
artist.
them,
Yeah. So that being said, if a producer pulls up, you know, a track that's kind of just plug and go to freestyle on, I could easily snap into the mode of said artist while they're not there and pitch them an idea. When I do that, though, I'm less precious on lyrics. Like, I'd rather just get like a hook or a verse chorus. Like, yo, this is a vibe. I'm not going to waste all day writing a song and speak for them. I'll be like, do you want to finish this?
Like, we were just with recently with Megan Moroney. You worked on this song, right?
Yeah.
She has such a distinct voice as a songwriter.
Yes.
I'm walking on sunshine, holding your hand, you're putting stars in my eyes like no one else can.
Tell me about that song.
I did the least on that, honestly. We started that chorus and the vibe of that chorus, and then that long, long way down, had that down to cloud nine. Like, she didn't have a concept. I don't think that was the album title didn't exist, obviously. Like, that was from a freestyle vibe, and then she took that and finished the song with Jesse Joe and what's the other writer on it?
Luke Laird.
Yeah, Luke Laird. And so, yeah, that was one of those kind of exactly what I'm talking about to get to this point is sometimes the best thing is like a start, like just a little spark plug, and then the song doesn't have to be finished that day. Sometimes they fall out. Sometimes enough falls out. Yeah.
She goes, waitress asked me, is Pepsi fine? I wanted Coke, but said it's more than all right. Like, from a storytelling perspective, you're just like fucking in the thing. Like, she does such a good job of getting you like in the.
Yes, she paints a nice picture for sure. Always. Yeah, the literal songwriting side of that's cool because like I do that sometimes, but that's more of my disassociation's not the word I'm looking for, which is an insane word to say. But like when I'm freestyling, the majority of the time when I'm writing, it is kind of disassociating from reality. Versus like Hardy, back to Hardy, pulls you right to reality with such like vivid imagery. If I land on vivid imagery, it's sometimes an accident because it's just like I'll close my eyes and try to paint that picture best I can without overthinking, because sometimes from here to here, I lose some of that sauce.
Yeah. There's someone who's probably the most famous for that kind of storytelling, songwriting, and probably the biggest artist in the world.
I would say so.
And has inspired like countless people from all different types of genres.
Yeah.
When you think Tim McGraw, I hope you think my favorite song, the one we dance to all night long, the moon like a spotlight on the lake. When you think
Just took me back to sophomore, junior year high school.
She's
right
like
there.
15, 16 writing that song.
Atomic. Taylor Swift is atomic and has been since day one. She was so good for the genre at the time she showed up too, from a songwriting perspective, and to have her as such a polarizing character for our genre. I think it like began the fresh popularity of country music as it is today.
And then she like exploded it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Like
I mean,
broke out of it. Like was like, okay, wait, we don't need to do this.
we had
and that's, like,
Garth
you guys.
did that, and then like there were moments in country along the way between Garth and Taylor, but like Taylor didn't go pop. I mean, I understand she puts out pop records now, and they're fantastic, and it's still coming from the integrity of a Nashville songwriter, a true Nashville songwriter. And so those when it did pop off as country, it was like, hell yes, look at all of the lights on country music right now, and the trickle effect of that like is still rippling today.
She's so fucking good. You ever written anything?
No, I would love to. Taylor and Swift. I'd be down. Clip that, chat. Am I cooked, chat? Am I cooked by the Swifties, chat?
I was listening to this classic.
Crowd all the way to Johnson's store. I kept the motor running and parked by the door.
Freaking church.
So he writes and performs a lot of his own songs, and he doesn't have like a set style. Like he's kind of always changing it up.
I love that. I love that about him. That's what makes him great. It's what makes him kind of a true outlaw. And songwriting wise, like I saw him give flowers to Hardy not long ago for being such a great songwriter. I mean, that's high praise coming from church, because I know how much church influenced all of us, like as far as a pinnacle of what a singer-songwriter can sound like, look like. I mean, I'm wearing sunglasses, like there's like, he broke the mold of what's like normal, especially for what 2012, 13, like Homeboy, like songs that just were so against the grain and the norm that he's singing so naturally. And he's able to, the church cult which is a crazy combination of words to say, but
They just
the
did this
Eric
song.
Church cult is real. The church cult. Not to be confused with the church cult. Yeah, this song's great.
My name's John McArthur.
I got a funny story about this.
My bloodline it bled on this ground. Soon we all find that's where we're bound.
Okay, tell me the story.
That song is so good. So for comedic relief, on text, I'm talking to Tim McGraw about a total different song that me and Lucas Nelson are helping produce that he and Willie are going to sing. Separate conversation. And then McGraw texts me, this is like 4 months ago, and he texts me out the blue and goes, hey, I'm putting vocals on that song on Monday. It's going to be awesome. I was like, hell yeah, thanks. And then he sent me McArthur. I think McGraw thought he was texting Hardy. And in fact, I know now that's exactly what happened because I didn't have the balls to be like, this ain't the song I was talking about. Instead, I was like, this sounds great. He was like, thanks, man. Think it's going to be a huge song. Like, you sound awesome. Like, fucking... And I didn't have the heart. So, I mean, I let it, we talked and I was like, when are you going to do the vocals on the Willie thing? You know, he's like, oh, I'm going to do that next week. Boom, boom, boom. And then like a couple weeks ago, he texted me and was like, hey man, I just realized like, I guess I was texting the wrong person about the McArthur song. I was like, yeah, dog, I loved that song though. So it's all good. I was just happy to, you know, get to hear it.
New phone,
I texted Morgan. I was like, bro, I think McGraw thinks I'm Hardy right now, which is crazy because he knows I'm not Hardy in the other parts of the text message. But we got to love Tim McGraw. When I think Tim McGraw, I think McArthur.
Lines got crossed.
the McArthur lines got crossed.
Wait,
That's
tell me
okay.
about the other song.
It's a song written by Jesse Joe Dillon and the Warren Brothers. Mm-hmm. And I won't go too far into depth about it, but it's cool. And it was just ironic because Jesse Joe sent it to me and was like, hey, me and the Warren Brothers just wrote this. I think Tim McGraw and Willie are going to cut it. And not long after, Lucas, not knowing I had heard that already, Lucas called and was like, hey, do you want to help me produce this thing for my dad and Tim? And I was like, hell yeah. So we went in and cut the record, and we're just waiting on vocals. But Willie sang the whole thing down already.
When you're producing something like that, what's your role?
Book the band, get in there, play it down, they chart it, and we just like feel it out and kind of coach parts, and it's just kind of being
literally choosing which instruments to include on them.
That's what I've really enjoyed doing that the last year or so. I've done that. Did my whole record with Jacob Durrett that way, and I've had a lot of fun. I've done working on a couple different projects with Lucas doing that, and I'm open to producing more records. You know, moving forward, I really love that side of it, writing and producing. It's really fun.
That's a huge part of the story. It's like when you take a song and turn it into a record,
right.
Especially a country record. Like, how do we put this pedal steel on this or not, or where do we bring some strings in? Like, when do we do that stuff?
That's kind of if I had a signature for what I would do is like that type of stuff, gut string guitars, pedal steel, fiddle, you know, make it country. I run everything I do for myself, at least, through the Opry filter, where it's like, if the Opry band can play this with what they got on stage, then that's good. You know, it's good for me.
That song McArthur we were just listening to, it's like a classic old school kind of
song of the year material. Yeah, shit's
band. There's no beat, there's no hip hop influence in there.
Right.
It's just like old school. Is that a signal, you think? Like the fact that Hardy kind of put that together, he's like, oh, let's go in this direction.
I think the production will always follow the song, and I think that song didn't call for anything other than 4 incredible voices, and you know,
so fucking good.
Yeah, like they could have done less even. You know, it could have just been an acoustic record and it'd be just the same. I think it's perfectly produced though, and it's definitely like emotional, which is, you can lose emotion quick going too computery.
Tim, man, such a good actor too. What was that? 1883.
1883, something like that.
So good.
He's great.
This is my first Tim McGraw record.
I was out of a job and she was in school and life was fast.
I love this song.
Was cruel, we were young.
rather controversial of the time.
Very controversial song.
So we did what we did and we tried to forget, and we swore up and down there would be no regrets in the morning light.
Yeah, the song hits way different at 21 than it does at 11.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. You're like, that's a pretty song. And you're like, oh
No,
my
you don't
God,
know.
they hooked up, they had an abortion. A lot went on in that song, and they wrapped it up in a nice, pretty little gift wrapping. Holy shit. Tim.
It's one of those classic, it's a classic song structure, right?
Who
the
wrote
writing.
it? Curious.
Jason White.
One of one.
Written
solo?
solely by Nashville-based songwriter and musician Jason White. He released and recorded in 2001.
Wow.
And then Tim did it like the year right after. It's like one of those songs that just one
Shout out Jason White.
person made, and I guess he heard it.
What a song.
So it's got this kind of classic structure that you hear a lot in country music, where it's you tell a story and then the variation and then the variation and it comes back around.
Yeah.
And there's like the
Tim
chorus
had a
tweaks.
couple of those specific, Tim did that Don't Take the Girl. Another tearjerker.
Yeah.
Take anybody that you want, as long as she don't go. Take any boy in the
And here's where I'm going to draw two comparisons that you'll understand. Country music and rap, both, like, a good story is a good story. The furniture might be different, but how many great rap songs is a storyline? Like Kendrick's been great about that. Like he's one of the greatest storytellers. Tupac, great storyteller. Eminem, obviously, and so many more. Jay-Z. Like even if you want to go like all the way to The Run, like you're getting the whole perspective of the stories and stuff. And that's just an ode. That's to songwriters.
One more song.
Why
don't you choose one of these that would be fun to talk about?
Let's do Into the Night.
It ain't the end of the world, no, it ain't even close. Can't keep holding on to the end of that rope.
That song, there was an Apple Vault situation similar to when me and Lainey Wilson got to find a song, rediscovered. But they were doing the Toby Keith tribute, like songwriters released a handful of songs that he recorded demos of but never recorded. I chose that song because it sounds like something I would write or put out anyways, and went in and cut it and tried to do it as much justice as possible. There's only one Toby Keith singing Toby Keith songs, but I related to it as far as the vibe and how it feels, and it fit perfectly on my record with everything else, and we cut it with the band that I cut the rest of the record for. Just super fun. Toby is like one of my North Stars as far as artist goes. You got Dean Dillon, North Star as a songwriter. Toby Keith is definitely up there as a North Star for an artist, just on his career, his support for the troops, his charisma, his sarcasm.
Sense of humor is like out of control.
Big sense of humor.
I'm pissed I didn't play that because that was going to be the first song that I was going to play for you, and then for some reason I didn't.
That snare, it's just like hitting a fucking trash can.
Heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away?
He got started late.
Yeah. I mean, several of the people we've talked about today did.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson didn't have his first artist hit until he was maybe 38 or 41, maybe. I think Haggard was late 30s. A lot, it wasn't until recent. The super young thing wasn't a thing. Like Toby was out working and writing. Came to town. I think that was the song that changed everything for him. And then it was just all downhill from there.
If you're out there watching this, it's not too late to get started.
It just takes one. It just takes one.
All right.
Also, if you're watching this, get off your ass and go write a song. If you really want to do this, what are you doing? Scroll and get off the pot. Go write a song. I mean, I'm all for people watching this, but if you really want to do this shit, what are you doing? You've already heard enough. You got to quit now and go write a song. Go be about it.
But first, they got to hear you play something.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Let's see here. But it doesn't have to be that. Okay, I'm gonna play a song called "If I'm Not Careful." If if I'm not careful, you might slip off my mind. I could let go of those unforgiving hands of time. If I quit trying, hell, leaving you might even be surprised. Oh, but if I'm not careful, you might slip off my mind. If I'm not mistaken, my mind just spent a minute someplace else. Oh, and all it's taken to get me past the way you felt. I could let go and give in to that ghost that always hides. Oh, but if I'm not careful, might slip off my mind, like that ring slipped off your finger. You might slip off my mind. There you go.
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, Hardy.
What did you say, Hardy? Fuck you. Take it easy, Joel McHale.
That was for Tim. When's the album out?
Album's out May 1st. We just dropped Deep Blue, and that End of the Night song just came out. Probably gonna put out one more song before the album comes out. But yeah, it all is made for and by the water. And if you're not in a boat listening to it, you can close your eyes and go there.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, man. It's boat season.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks
Great
for
to
having
meet
me. It's
you.
fun. I love the sound system. Sounds awesome. We could have kept doing that forever. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. The Trackstar Podcast is a presentation of public opinion created by me, Jack Coyne, Kieran Coyne, and Henry Cornaros. Produced by Haley Sobel. Edited by Haley Sobel. Theme and original composition by Kieran Coyne. Mixing by Devin Klein. Our agent is Joanna Orland at UTA. Thanks for listening. See you next Wednesday.